What's up guys, it's your boy Rabner, and today I'm going to be reviewing set 70747, which is the original Boulder Blaster, set 71736, which is the Legacy Boulder Blaster. I'm going to be reviewing each set individually, and then going over what I think is good about them, comparing them, the minifigures, and all of the stuff like that. So if you like the video, make sure you like the video and subscribe. Okay, right then. First of all, we're going to be going over the original Boulder Blaster. So as you can see, it is a fairly large set. It has a decent amount of pieces in it. It did have like a side build, but it didn't really do anything. It was just like some random pillars and stuff. So yeah, so as you can see, it's got quite a nice sort of shape to it. So it's got this sort of like round piece here in front of the like cockpit, and that leads up to the actual sort of like blaster bit itself. I will be comparing their destructive power, but I don't, obviously they're not really supposed to be destructive, so kind of unnecessary. As you can see, the details are pretty good. It's got some nice gold pieces sort of like in the center here. It's got uses these sort of like bolts to like hit things, and the way they move is by hitting onto this bit right here. This set uses quite a few stickers. So as you can see, we've got some on these like little wings here, one on top of the like wheel here, one at the back here, two on each wing, and there are definitely a few others somewhere. The cockpit itself, it just uses this sort of like grey-black piece, and on the inside it's just got a seating area for coal with a little printed piece here. It's got quite a large wingspan, 6 inches, and it's got these sort of like golden swords like on the end of it. It's also got some little like tan green highlights, I think you call them, and it's got this little bit down here. So the way you actually shoot it, which is, oh, okay, I just accidentally shot it. The way you actually shoot it, which is the same in both sets, is by turning this. So what this does is when you turn it, it will hit against this, and then the bolt will sort of like go out. So if I just quickly use it now, yeah, so it's quite stiff if you don't go at its speed. So as you can see, it normally does about 2 at a time, and it's pretty good. One of the problems I found with this set while building it is the sort of like, this bit is very hard to build, because you have to sort of like align all of the bits sort of like correctly, as if you can kind of see it, that they're using sort of like snap-on like minifigure hand joints, and you have to also join it onto the other side here. It's a bit blurry, but you can probably see it if I shake it around a bit. So overall, I think it's a pretty good set for the time, a bit lacking in detail, however I think it does look pretty cool. So in terms of minifigures, there were 2 sort of like henchmen, but the main minifigure is Cole, and yeah, so he's a pretty nice minifigure. He hasn't got an alternate face, but he's got a pretty nice sort of like back print. It's a bit blurry, but you can probably sort of see what that is. And he's also got some leg printing with a belt, and some sort of like nice bronze sort of details on his sort of like area. Looking at the instructions, this one, the older one, has around 130 pages I think, and in the back it's got these sort of like just the old Lego sets, which I hope they do a few more legacies for. They do the pieces, go over the play features, and overall, so yeah, there are just like 50-ish pages of pretty good instructions. So now let's get into the other Legacy Boulder Blaster. Okay, right then, before we get into the actual Boulder Blaster itself, we're going to be looking at this side build. So the idea of this build is it's sort of just like a, I don't really know what they're called, like a serpentine soldier sort of like trap. So what you'd normally do is you'd put a minifigure in it, so let's just put Cole in it I guess. and he just sort of like stand in here, and then you lock this up, and this bit will keep the sort of like ladder piece in place. Then the idea is the Boulder Blaster sort of like shoots a stop bit. I'm not going to do it, but basically if you flick this back, then it would allow him to fall out, and then he's free. But I assume that's normally supposed to be done with Lloyd and another minifigure. So into the actual Boulder Blaster itself, as you can see, it's a lot bigger than the other one. So the wingspan on this one is probably like much bigger than the other one, probably about 8 inches I'd assume. And as you can see, it's definitely looks a lot better than the older version. So going from the front and comparing the other details, there is a larger sort of space between the beginning of the sort of like circular bit here with the gold highlight of the wheel. This bit is way easier to put together because it sort of uses the clip pieces, but they clip to each other, so they basically just sit sort of like around a little axis. You can't really see it, but there's just like a little bit going in there, and it just connects around that. The detail is much better. It's got these really nice like irony sort of pieces with the obviously like green highlights. It's got a nice little gold bit at the front with this bit here. Differently to the other build, the way the sort of like bullets come off is from this. So this bit is sort of like a wheel piece which you'd normally find in like a small car build, and for sort of like bullets to sort of go off there. But the actual like thing works in the same way. It's just got a little bit of a nicer piece here, so this is obviously a bit easier to use and just works a bit easier. On the bottom here, I really like this. It's got a nice little like shield piece, and that helps it to stand up because of this like back bit here, which was on the other build but it moved, so it wasn't very helpful, and it will accidentally set off. And that allows it to sort of just like stand up, and I think that looks very cool. So moving over to the cockpit, I really like how this looks. It's got a nice original bit here. I assume this is used in other sets, but I haven't actually seen any. And as you can see, it's got the same sort of print. Oh, there we go, accidentally chewing it again. It's got the same sort of just like print here, and it's just got a little bit of a back bit for him to lean down on, so it doesn't take up as much space. It's also got lots of stickers in it. So as you can see, there's one here. There's like a big one on the sort of like wings, and there's one on this sort of like bit coming up here. It's got a lot of good details in it. So it's got some sort of like guns, the sort of like engines, which you'd normally find on a car, but I think works really well here for the sort of style they're going for. Slightly bigger like wings going down here. Very sort of like large back bit. It's got this huge sort of like piece here with a sticker on it, and a wheel part at the back which is smaller than the sort of wheel here. So as you can see, this one is much better than the older one. It uses a lot more of the newer pieces that have been added to LEGO's collection, and I think this is a much better set in general. So in terms of minifigures, we have 4, while the other one had 3. So we have Cole. See, he's got his new hairpiece. He has got a second face, so obviously you can just turn that around. He's got some much better printing, so he's got a gold belt with some sort of like bronze highlights. And he's also got back printing, which I think just looks a lot better. Our other ninja is Lloyd. So as you can see, he looks pretty good. He wasn't in the original, but LEGO really like putting him in these Legacy sets. So as you can see, he's just got some nice printing on it, nice belt. He's got some leg printing as well, and he's got a nice back print. We've also got a sort of like villain. So this is a guy with a mohawk. I really like this. He's got sort of like toe prints. He's got this nice sort of like axe here, so using the bone bit and the like axe. He has got sort of like a very nice sort of like jacket on, and I believe the sort of like print for the yellow is a bit off, but it's not really particularly noticeable. He's got a really cool face print, obviously no back print for his face because he's got this mohawk which doesn't cover it up, but he's also got a very nice back print. The collectible me figure for this is Kai, so you've got this lovely gold outfit with this really nice sort of like ninja headpiece. He's also got a sort of like little stand with 10 years of Ninjago, and it's a print, and he's got a nice gold sort of like bronze belt. He's got some nice details. I think he has another face as well, yep, so he also has another face, which is this newer version since post Ninjago movie, and he's got a nice sheath back here in the gold colour with a golden sword. The newer one, the book's a bit smaller, so if I just put it here, and it's got quite a few more pages. The instructions are also still pretty good, and at the back it's just got the pieces in the set and some other of the Legacy sets which have this really cool gimmick of a sort of like gold minifigures. I think I heard that they're going to be doing that for more sets, and I really like that. Okay then guys, so I'm going to be testing these two sort of like builds here on this little elephant. I've forgotten what its name is, but either way it's going to get absolutely eliminated. So going with the older version, so the way you sort of hold it is pretty difficult since I'm holding the camera, but you basically just have to spin this bit here. So I often do it by accident. So what you do is you just turn it backwards and then it will launch off shots towards the elephant. So if we just do that, and as you can see they make a little bit of sort of like effort on it, and now I've run out of bullets, so oops I guess. Okay, the other one is obviously the newer one. So if we just pick this up, it works in pretty much the same way, but instead of sort of like a cog piece which you need to turn, you've got this nice sort of like more smooth piece here. Obviously it works in the same way, so if you just shoot it, it's quite difficult to reach this, so if you're a 7-year-old then sorry. So if we just turn it, as you can see, it launches the bullets at the elephant and they do a little bit of damage. So overall I think it's probably a bit easier to use the older one, but that's just because the bigger one and the newer one is just a bit, well, better made. Yeah, so overall I definitely prefer the newer one. I just think it looks a lot better and it looks a lot more sleeker. However, I think the actual play feature works better on the older set, and I just think this sort of looks a little bit sort of like faster in a way. Minifigure wise, obviously the newer ones are better, so if you just compare these two with the old one and the new one, it's pretty obvious which one looks better. But I mean, there isn't a huge amount of difference, it's just sort of like quality in terms of prints and how detailed they could get them. So those are my thoughts on this set. I think they're pretty good. So yeah, I hope you liked the video. I had a lot of fun making these two sets up. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you in my next review. Bye.